Get ready, everyone, for an incredible session as we dive into a topic that's crucial for all database superheroes out there, Autosync Explained. Joining us is the amazing Gabby who's here to sprinkle some magic and share invaluable insights that will help you better understand the ins and outs of synchronization within SharePlex. So grab your virtual seats and prepare to learn and level up your skills. Without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to the one, the only, Gabby.
Hello everyone, my name is Gabby Saavedra. I am Enterprise Technical Support Advisor at Quest, and welcome to episode 4 of our SharePlex Skills 101 series. Today, we will explore Autosync, an essential topic for all SharePlex users. I'll guide you through what it means, how to identify it, and the ways to resolve it effectively. Let's start with our today agenda. So we will cover 4 main areas. What is an autosync means for SharePlex? Why data go autosync? How to identify these issues? And finally, the methods to fix them. This will give you a solid understanding of autosync scenarios and the tools to manage them. In SharePlex, an autosync conditions occurs when a rows contained in the source database doesn't match the target database. This can happen with bidirectional replication if the conflicting updates are made to the same row in both databases. So when this happens, SharePlex flags the error as an autosync. So understanding this is very important and is the first step to identify and fix this issue. Here is a simple example, a visual example, where you can see a source and target table here. So if the row 2, for example, with the name red remains on the source, but on the target it's still like green for the same column. So SharePlex recognizes this discrepancy and as an autosync. And when it's trying to post data on the target database, it will log this kind of errors and different information in different logs that you can find during the replication. So consistency is essential in replication, and any mismatch in a row like this leads to what we call an autosync. So autosync issue can stem from different and various causes. For example, reporting instance with triggers on target system, or maybe audit triggers that changing NLS settings can lead to these mismatches. Extra constraints on target tables like foreign keys or DBMS jobs running on the source and target system that could be modifying data automatically can also lead to these inconsistencies. Even the user permissions that are not aligned between the source and target, or the initial load that have you done during the create of the target database can also cause this kind of autosync. So it's very important that you validate this information in your current system. So identify an autosync problem early in the replication process is essential for maintaining the data integrity. SharePlex offers several ways to detect when a row is autosync. First, during the replication, SharePlex checks that the data that is about to post on the target database matches between the source and the target. So if SharePlex finds a discrepancy, like we saw in the previous image, it flags the row and generates an autosync error. This error will be logged in several places, as I mentioned. You can find it on the event log, the status DB, and for more detail, you can go to the SID error log.sql. All these files you will find on the target system in the vardir log directory. So here we can see an example. So also with the same table, in the source it remains at red for the name column, but then the target is green. When we are trying to do an update on the target database, we get this update from the source and it's posted by SharePlex on the target side. When this happens, post the text that is autosync and is going to log this information on these different logs that I mentioned. So for event log, you will find the target table here that is autosync. Also the source row ID So the error also that is failing for the update. So this is going to help you to pinpoint any error and troubleshooting what is happening, where is the information is not validated, and why it's out of sync. As I mentioned, the other file that you can find this information is the status DB, and the status DB will show you detailed status information of the current system, highlighting warning or error messages that might require attention. For example, you will see entries that warn you about unsynchronized data between source and target or data conflicts. So you can use the show status detail command on the target, and it will give you more granular information about these kind of errors. Besides, you can use the show sync command here on the target system. So this command will show you every time that POS has found any out of sync condition during the replication, how many times had been found this kind of error, the table name, why it's out of sync, and since when it's out of sync. This is very important. The first day that you find any out of sync for the specific table. So this makes the troubleshooting more efficiency, pinpointing the exact issue so you can go to the root cause. As I mentioned, the other file is the SID, where SID is the name of your database, errorlog.sql file. It will contain detailed information about the exact row that is out of sync, especially very useful for the troubleshooting. It logs the unique row ID, the error specifically, right? So also it will give you all the information about the archive, offset, read the log information, the day when this autosync was happening. So this file is going to give you the exact DML operation that is failing and is valuable for finding what's the issue specifically. So I put here two examples. See if the table has primary key or unique index defined, so the update will be different. Even the word condition is going to be different. So if the table has primary key, as you can see here, you will see the DML, in this case an update, and the update will include the primary key for our table is font, the font column, and you will find the pre-image value of the column that is going to change. As you can see here, the update set name green is changing that specific column, and here is the name that was previously. All the information came from the read logs. So if the table doesn't have any primary key, you will see this kind of weird condition, where it will include all the columns that are going to be changed in this table. So you will find the specific columns here, the font, the address in this case, and the name, and the pre-values for every column here. Okay. So now we can discuss the parameters that control which part of the operation in the real log are included in the replication stream and in the post-work clause as we saw in the previous slide. So depending on your business needs, SharePlex allows you to configure the capture and the post-processing behavior by choosing whether to send or utilize all data from the read logs. So you can include the key values, the before and after values, or the modified columns during the operations. So here you can see the parameters that I mentioned for Oracle, for Postgres, and for open targets on source and target system. So this reduce key parameter, as you see here, will allow you to include all data that Oracle writes to the read log. Another option is the key values and the before values of the columns are going to be changed. Also, the key columns sometimes if you use only the key columns, sometimes helps you to improve the performance for the post process. So just make sure if you are going to enable this option, only SharePlex is the one that is doing changes on the target database. Another parameter that you see here is the OCT use sub keys as supplemental keys. So these parameters make SharePlex use Oracle supplementals login columns for updates and deletes. This is going to improve your efficiency and it overrides the default key section and requires setting to 1 for open targets. I recommend you to go to the SharePlex reference guide for detailed information of this parameter and how to configure these parameters. Another information that you can see here is when SharePlex detects an autosync event by default, logs the error, and continue processing. However, it offers options to handling this through some parameters. For instance, the post parameters, SPOPO autosync suspend, and for open targets, the OPOX autosync suspend. We will see these parameters later during the presentation for more information. So we are reviewing how to spot an autosync issue during replication. Now, the other way should be if you use the compare and repair command. These are powerful utilities that SharePlex offers you. The compare command detects discrepancies between the source and target tables, while the repair commands correct mismatches, making sure data aligns correctly between the source and the target. We will go into depth on this utility in a moment. An important point to remember, we have been reviewing this during the presentation, is SharePlex only verifies the rows affected by the current SQL operation that is posted. So it may not detect issues in other rows or other tables. There is when we could find or could have on this target database hidden autosync conditions because they won't be identified until a change triggers them. So using the compare command helps you to reveal these discrepancies by scanning for inconsistencies across the tables. Running a compare command can be very helpful if you suspect any hidden autosync issues. SharePlex typically catches autosync conditions during the normal replication, but also there are cases where discrepancies might remain undetected, as we have been seeing. So using the compare command in these situations can help you to identify any hidden autosync issues, allowing you to resolve them proactively and maintain the data consistency between the source and the target database. So SharePlex detects an autosync condition. What happens next? How you can fix it? Let's explore here more information about it. So by default, SharePlex logs the error and continues processing. However, you can modify this behavior using the following parameters: the SPOPO autosync suspend, and the option for the open targets is SPOPX autosync suspend. So when replication continues by default on the left side, okay, post process will discard any operation that caused the autosync and will continue posting valid operations only that are in this transaction. So this approach helps to minimize latency and keeps the targets as up to date as possible. On the other hand, the right side here, if the replication is configured to stop upon detecting an autosync using those parameters that we talked, then the post process will halt as soon as it detects the issue. So this will cause you latency and the backlog start building up. So in this scenario, the autosync operations needs to be manually corrected in the target database, or the message must be discarded from the post queue before you can start again the post queue process. So you can open a support ticket, no problem. We can help you with that if you require an assistant for this. There is another parameter that serves as a value tool for tracking and troubleshooting autosync events. This is the SPOPO save OOS transaction. This parameter applies specifically to Oracle targets only, okay? When it's enabled, when value 1, this parameter is going to tell to ignore the entire transaction. So post will ignore all these transactions and roll back and discard it. So is any autosync information operations in that transaction is going to be rolled back. But no problem. It also is going to save you these transactions, and the SQL file in the directory is going to be on the bardir OOS directory on the target system. Here you can see the message is going to be logged on the event log, for example. It will show you that the transaction has been rolled back, and also where is this the file. You will find an SQL file and the path where it has been created. And this file is going to include you all the DML operations that were rolled back on that transaction. In this case, I did an insert, update, and a commit, and more information related to this specific transaction. So you can have this kind of information. This is important for you during this Autosync finding. But what does SharePlex offer to help to fix this kind of issue, this kind of Autosync issues? Do you remember we talked about the compare and repair utility? So SharePlex provides you these powerful tools, compare and repair utilities. These are designed to verify and maintain replication accuracy and reliability, available only for Oracle to Oracle and for Postgre to Postgre configuration only for now. So you can use this kind of tool to keep the data synchronized. So it's better if you can. It's a best practice to schedule maybe a regular compare between the source and target database. Remember, we discussed about hidden Autosync issues. You can schedule this kind of compare to try to find them if this is the case, and you suspect of this. So this is a proactive approach that help us to catch and resolve inconsistencies early. So you can reduce this way the risk of data drift during the replication. So the main options for the compare is including the compare repair for individual tables only, or a wildcard sets within the same schema. Or you can use the compare using and repair using to take input from a file that is going to allow you flexibility in specifying the tables for the process. So you can list all the tables on that specific file that you want to run the compare or the repair utility with the compare repair use. We will see this in a while. So before using the compare and repair tools, there are several prerequisites to ensure a smooth process. Capture, read, export, import, and pause must be running. All the process must be running. And capture must be current with Oracle. So make sure that capture is current with Oracle before running a compare or repair utility. Only the tables that are included in the active configuration file are allowed to be compared and repaired. Any uncommitted transactions on source tables should be resolved, because they can prevent that the compare and repair process cannot obtain read consistency. For a large table, you can increase the table space if necessary, and based on the threads that you are using for the compare and repair process. Okay, so you can check this kind of threads on the parameter is SPDEQ threads parameter. Find more information on the reference guide for this. So also you can adjust the undo table space for large or high volume tables to avoid any snapshot to all error. Tables containing lobs take longer. Okay, so please check if you can add more resources for those tables when you are going to do the compare or repair utility. Remember, refer to the SharePlex reference guide for any configurations that might not be supported in the compare and repair operations. You can ensure, if you ensure these conditions are met, so this is going to help you to avoid any interruptions during the process and during the compare and repair process, and it's going to provide you accurate and efficient synchronization. When running compare and repair in SharePlex, detailed logs are going to be created and are essential for tracking and troubleshooting. Remember, these logs are going to be found on the Bardir log directory on source and target database. So the process that generates the logs are DESVR as a server on the source side, and for the target side, it's going to be DECLT as a client, and it's going to run on the target side. Each log will uniquely named with the specific job ID, the SID of the Oracle database names, the process ID from the OS system, and it's going to help you to identify on the target side also what is the repair job or the compare job that is running, and all the information related to the specific process that is running. It's going to pinpoint any issues during the process, so you can go directly to the specific log to find any kind of information for this compare and repair process. So here's a quick look of the compare and compare using syntax. So all the options that are allowed to use for every process, for every command. So the most common I highlighted there is the quick check. For example, it's going to do an initial check of the table for the compare, and it's going to determine if any rows are out of sync. As soon as find any out of sync, it's going to stop, and it's going to tell you that the table is out of sync. It's very useful for large tables, or if you want to run a compare for all the tables in the replication, or maybe a group of tables. So it's very quick, and it's going to tell you the tables that are already finding any out of sync issue. Another important feature is the where clause. The where clause is like a filter, and it's going to help you to compare specific rows in a table. You can use the column for the table to create a where condition, and only use that filter to repair, sorry, in this case for compare, only these specific rows. Remember, you can always learn about this kind of commands on the reference guide for more detail for every kind of the options that are allowed to use. This is a similar view for the repair and repair using. The most common here is the where clause. Usually, customers use it to filter in specific rows that are need to be repaired. For example, if the table has a create date or a last update date, you can use it specific these columns on this Autosync table. Maybe you can repair only the files or the rows that are from say 10 or 15 days ago, for example, using these columns. Okay, so only those columns that are going to be filtered are going to be repaired. Use any column or a columns in a table, and this is going to help you to create a where clause and only repair that specific rows. As in the compare, the repair has the option to using, as you can see it here on the right, and all the options that are allowed to use. So this repair using option allow you to run this utility for all the tables in replication, maybe a list of tables that you want to put there in the file, and that way is going to be faster and allow you to do the repair for more table if you're needed. Once more again, review the SharePlex reference guide. You will see every specific options and how to use it, and some examples there. So I want to show you a couple of examples here. For example, this is compare. Let's use this table. In this case, I'm comparing the demo source table, which is currently in the active config file on my replication. So after I run the compare here, I use the compare status. Compare status is going to tell you the current job that is running and the current status of the specific job. In this case, the job already finished and the row is out of sync. So you can see the status here. You can see the job ID, the process ID, if you want to go to the specific logs file, source, and target in this side. So also this file is going to tell you about the information related to this compare that I just ran. In this case, the result is out of sync for this one too. So this is source log and this is target log. And the most important log on the right side, this is the SQL one. You will find this file on the target side. And this file is going to give you the compare report. Well, you will see the data that is out of sync, the transactions that are needed to be run for the repair once you do the repair. So in this case, I have 2 inserts and 1 delete. So these are the transactions that needs to be run on the target side to repair the table and put it back in sync. So it's a similar example here for the repair. So also I did the repair for the demo source table. In this case, I use the repair status command, but also you can use the job status. For example, for compare status and repair status is another option, job status. And it's going to refer to the information related to this job also. And just a tip here, you can use help and the command name on the SP control, and you will see the syntax for the entire syntax for the command. So you can use help repair status, for example, and it will show you the syntax for this command. So here the table is already prepared, and also I have the job ID, I have the process ID, as you can see here on the same logs file. This is on the source, this is on the target. The tables are already prepared, and these are specific information related to the SQL file that I mentioned. This is what are those DMLs that were run to put this table back in sync. Again, the two inserts and the one delete that was needed to repair this specific table. You will find here all the specific information of that DML and the columns, the data, and the values that were set to put it back in sync. So great. Let's wrap up and with a quick summary of what we covered today. First, we define what an autosync condition is when the data and the source doesn't match the target database. Also, we discussed some common reasons why data can go out of sync, such as triggers, also the constraints, or user activities that are affecting the replication process. Next, we look at how to spot an out of sync issue, SharePlex logs, and tools like the compare repair, very powerful tools. And these tools can help you to identify discrepancies, especially if hidden out of sync conditions are suspected. So lastly, we cover strategies for fixing these out of sync conditions using options like the repair command and the specific parameters that you can use to control the replication behavior. And if you understand this concept, you are better equipped to maintain data integrity and ensure a smooth replication. So thank you all for joining me today for episode 4 of our SharePlex Skill 101 series. I hope these sessions and Autosync Explained has been informative and provide you with very important information and relevant information. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the QA area. And thank you once again. And I would like to invite you to our next SharePlex Skills 101 series, Best Practices. I'll be there too. I want to watch this. It's amazing that our product specialist, Anu Madukuri, is going to be here and give you all the best practice for SharePlex. You can use the QR codes today, register, and be there for the SharePlex Skills 101 episodes.